Welcome to Between Two Green Berets. I'm your host, Jesse James.
And I'm Frankie Four Fingers, and today we are going to continue speaking on the Charlie Kirk situation. The situation going on with the suspect. So they apprehended the suspected assassin. It was last night.
I think they got him this morning.
9/11 this morning.
I think so. This morning. I know this is. We'll watch President Trump speaking about it this morning at 9:00. I don't know the exact time he was arrested.
They had a pretty lengthy.
Yeah, we could watch that press.
The press release that they had with the the director of the FBI was there.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was definitely pretty good. So we'll watch that too. If you want to kick it off, we can kick it off right here with what President Trump had to say.
You were at the 9/11 memorial. We were all watching that. And J.D. Vance was supposed to be with you. He went out to be with Charlie Kirk's family and to get the body back to his hometown in Arizona. And you said you were going to award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is very nice of you. Any updates on the suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued and we all don't get sued and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. You know, it's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. But I think we're in great shape. And he's in custody.
All right. So what's your thoughts after that, after President Trump said that?
I think this is getting a lot of serious look into it. You know what I mean? Like I don't even when President Trump got shot, I feel like things weren't as pressing as when Charlie Kirk assassinated like that, you know?
Yeah, I do feel that same way. Like, I feel like I understand like the administration is different, right? Like, so Donald Trump is in office. He was a huge like Donald Trump supporter. Charlie Kirk was and stuff like that. But I feel like there's a different FBI right now. There's a different administration. They're like, we're going to find this dude. We're going to hunt this guy down. We're going to find everything and we're going to release it. We're going to be transparent. We're going to tell you everything that's going on. And we're hiding. I think they're trying to almost play catch up because of how bad they have been in the past 20 years or more. You know? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, there was like a record on how fast they were able to like apprehend him. You know, the guy's father basically told the police from what I've seen that his son basically confessed it to him. His father being a retired sheriff in Washington County, I think is where those guys stay at.
Something like that. And then I also seen he was either on Discord, I think it was. He was on Discord writing a bunch of information, telling people or saying some things similar to that. And gave it away too. So this is
his friends feel, you know, like if you're on Discord and somebody was talking about like things that they don't agree with, are you just, you know, like how quick that light switch just goes off and
like
become radicalized? Yeah. You know, like
or just something like just switches in a sense of like it's just you've had enough. That person personally had enough.
Because it was 22 years old?
Yeah, I think it was 22.
It was in the past and gone.
But
gone.
This is the rest of Donald Trump's statement or President Trump's statement this morning. So we'll watch this.
His ideology.
Yeah, Lawrence, let me and by the way, Lawrence is doing a good job. What's going on here?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I'm very proud of you. I said you were going to do well. But I think that I don't want to go too far. I'd like to tell you some stories at how it happened, but essentially somebody that was very close to him turned him in. And that happens when you had some of those good shots. Somebody is going to say, whether it's a parent or whatever, I'd rather not say right now. They're going to announce it today, sometime later, probably talk about that. But somebody close to him turned him they said, whoa, it's interesting. We had very good pictures, but not great, not perfect. And when you look at it, what happened is somebody, and this happens a lot. It happened with the crazy Boston bomber. It happened with others. Somebody that's close recognizes even a little tilt of the head, which nobody else would do. And somebody that was very close to him said, that's him. And essentially went to the father, went to the U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister, and brought him to a U.S. Marshal who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but I'm just giving you, based on what I'm hearing, they'll give you a much more active. I just heard about it 5 minutes before I walked in. As I'm walking in, they said, looking real good. They have the person that they wanted. So you have breaking news, don't you? Huh?
Thank you.
Always have breaking news, Ainsley.
Right.
Sean's going to be very disappointed that we're not doing it on his show.
He'll be very thankful and appreciative of the
I think
police
so.
officers that got this
I
guy.
think they did a great job. Everybody worked together. Pam Bondi is incredible, by the way. People don't know what a star she is. She's incredible. And it all worked out.
Could I ask you just some clarification? So a pastor was able to turn him in, or they got the family of the shooter to turn them in?
Well, it was a minister, and the minister went to a minister who was involved with law enforcement, by the way. And his good friend is a top U.S. Marshal, and they took it from there. And then it was a father got involved, namely his father, and said, we got to go in. And they, so I understand it. And again, subject to change, but, the facts are the facts. We have the person that we think is the person we're looking for. But they drove into the police headquarters, and he's there now.
How do you think it's going right now in the police station?
Dude, what about that father? You're a father of a boy.
Yeah.
Put yourself in his shoes right then and there. Like, we both have teenage boys. Damn, man.
Yeah, think about that's as a father,
Yeah.
that's like, yeah.
What's going on in the police station, man? I don't know. Like, they're just gonna be questioning him constantly for a while, man.
You think he's gonna cooperate? He's gonna want to tell his story, or you think he's just gonna hold everything close to the vest?
I don't know. I want to dig more into his like what's going on, into like his background, a little bit more information on him and stuff like that, and see what comes from that. And man, I don't know. This is like, what drove him to do this? That's the main thing. Like, what changed his mind? What radicalized him? What set him off? That one, like, in Utah at that time. Like, why? Why did he pick there?
Well, he lived there. He lives in Utah. So on the press release, I don't know if we can pull it up, but I think it's the governor that was speaking in it. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, we'll watch that. We got that coming up. This one right here.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, we'll watch that.
He had mentioned he was hoping that the suspect was going to be, a foreigner or from a different state at least, and that it kind of hurt him that ended up being, Utah, I guess is how they call
A Ute?
Utah.
I don't know. Yeah,
they call him Utah.
Utahns?
He was upset that it ended up being a Utah, because Utah has been like a historical red state since the 60s, 70s, right? They've always voted Republican. They have Republican Senate, Republican House, so I'm sure that did catch them out of left field.
Yeah, man, like, I agree. The same thing, like, I think it's weird that, like, I want to know more about this kid. Like, the more I hear about it, the more I look it up, the more I try to dig in on social media and stuff. Like I understand he was like a gaming dude. He had a nice gaming setup, that kind of thing.
Yeah, what kid isn't?
Yeah, that's the other thing, is like, what kid isn't, like, They were all doing that.
Another thing that was mentioned in the press release was the I'm sure you've heard this before, but like psychologically, humans aren't wired to see like this level of violence become so common. You know, there was the stabbing, there was this shooting on camera, and you could just pull it up whenever you want. You know, we just, oh, that's, hey, have you seen this guy? Have you seen this? You know, and like for everybody to see, and it's I know it's been brought up before because of like our military stuff, that people just aren't programmed to see a dead body or to process that information. What do you think about that? Because a lot of these kids that are watching this stuff is now, they're not thinking, you know, this is normal. This is how you debate. You know, if you can't beat him, kill him.
Yeah, I mean, I see that going on right now a lot for sure. That especially like you do see it. I was actually doing some weird digging into uh like political assassination attempts kind of thing. You know, even like when Lincoln, the two on Trump, JFK, MLK, um, Charlie Kirk. I don't know what Charlie Kirk's his assassin is. I don't know if he's a Democrat or Republican, or if he has anything, or if he even registered as anything. You know, from the sounds of it, it sounds a little bit more liberal leaning because he's talking like fascists, things like that. You know, writing fascism on the bullets, weird things that he engraved into it. So if you look back in history, the majority, if not all of them, are either communism, socialists, like Democrat, leftists. That's the majority of assassins who kill the opposite side, you know, like Republicans or conservatives and things like that. So, like, this almost just continues that same tradition. Um, as much as it like sounds horrible, the Democrat Party, it, you know, was the party for slavery. You know, they were the party for the KKK. They were the party for Jim Crow. They were the party for segregation. You know, like, and then now they're continuing the hate today. It's a lot of hate, and it's crazy. It's sad. It should not be like this. You shouldn't have to. This should never even be like a line of action, or a, what is it called, a chain of action, or
Events.
huh? Well, this shouldn't be. This should never even be an option. You shouldn't be like, I'm gonna kill my political party member or the opposite party member because of his ideology. You know, that should never be an option. If you look in Germany right now, there was 7 politicians killed over the last couple weeks or maybe month because they're opposition party. You see it in Mexico. How many of them were killed in Mexico? What, like 28 or something of them killed in political party members just until this last president, this girl, got elected, you know?
Yeah, but whenever you say other countries, I'm, you know, in my head, I'm like, yeah, but this is America.
It just happened in America.
Exactly. I'm trying to say, like, this shit is like,
it shouldn't be.
we're supposed to be way past.
But that's what the government does. You know that, right? Like, I mean, you do know this. You know this more than like anybody else. You've watched USAID, and especially with our line of business, we worked in these other countries to overthrow other governments, right? That's what SF has been doing since they were made, you know, since the OSS, right? They were going in, building up guerrilla forces, psychological warfare, the same exact thing that they're doing here. Now they're just running the op in America right now, and they're assassinating political members. They've reached that point, you know? It's crazy. I mean, there's the point to where George Floyd, when he died, remember him? And there was this crazy BLM riots and everything. And they stood on him as a martyr, right? And they burnt down all of these cities all across the US, right? All of this craziness. And what happens on the right when actually one of our political members, not just a guy? I mean, George Floyd probably shouldn't have been killed or anything, but he also shouldn't have been doing those drugs, right? But the big difference is we hold candlelight visuals, you know? We're not burning down cities or like causing more chaos.
How many more assassinations or attempts do you think it's gonna take for basically? Dude, I don't even want to call it a civil war because I feel like the government's gonna step in before. Okay, do you think it's gonna get uglier from now, or do you think it's gonna get, or things are gonna get better? You think like America's gonna unite, or you think things are gonna get?
Yeah, I really do. I think the U.S. will start to unite. You'll still have some radical extremists start kind of thing, but you're gonna see that middle Democrat that was like not leaning this crazy liberal, progressive, now killing people side of the party. They're gonna be like, look, like, no, I don't want to be associated with that at all. And they're gonna just start voting for Republicans. And they're going to lean more Republican. I mean, you've seen it in the voting, in the registrations now. Like 2 million Democrats left the Democrat Party over the last few years, and 2 million more registered for the Republican Party over that same time period. So that's a net loss of 4 million Democrats. That's huge. That's across the whole country, right? But then, so something like this happens. It was like the boiling point, like, or the turning point, the point that like really is going to probably redirect a lot of America. I hope you're going to see this like violence and stuff going on in Chicago and everything. And they're going to be like, no. We seen what happened in Utah with Charlie Kirk. They're going to be like, no, we need to stop this violence. We need to get it down. We need to get it under control. Like, we need to make these cities like safe again, these streets safe again, this U.S. safe again. We can't have just random lunatic people killing political members in the United States of America.
It's not just that. There's like, it was done in a university. How many school shootings have we had to worry about? Dude, I was gonna talk to you about this the other day. It was about or did we talk about it the other day?
I don't know. School shootings?
Just like, how safe do you feel in school?
I feel safe. Well, you understand my stance on it. I feel safe everywhere right here in Florida. I don't even carry.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but maybe I'll assassinate you tomorrow. Dude, I'd be like, ha! I told you.
Yeah.
Prove my point.
No, I don't know. All right, let's hop back on topic right here.
You think an attorney's gonna want to touch this?
Yeah, somebody will represent him.
No life that just wants some recognition.
He'll probably get a public defender.
I mean, obviously he's gonna get a public defender. I'm talking about, do you think there's gonna be, you know how like whenever they do any of these kinds of things, there'll be like a line of crazies that are, supporting them. And
man, yeah, there might be some good, like a good lawyer take it on. I actually hope he does get good representation because I want it to come out. I want it to see it. I want to read about it in the court. I want to, I'm going to follow it on here. I am. I'm going to read all those freaking dockets. I'm going to read the Twitter, anything coming out on Twitter from whoever is going to be posting about it, and I'm going to put my opinion out there on it. I want to see it all. I want to see everything about it. And then think about it, man. Like, we have great friends that run security companies, right? So think about, I had a friend today, actually. You know what? I want to shout him out on here. He's got we'll look into it. Does he have a public profile? No. I sent you his link today. Who this is. Okay.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's public?
No, I would
All right.
want to talk to him about it first.
I'll reach out to him, and if he wants us to put his information out here for you guys to see. But he came up with an idea of, I know it's probably out there, but he's like, man, we need to start really looking at drone security. Like especially guys like us, right? We probably had, that was our job
well, he's surprised. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are thinking the same thing. Like, why isn't there drones? Like there's drones at my son's football game. You know, like how is there not a drone flying around?
I'm talking for investment. Maybe we can get some guys together that are already running something like this, and we know some old 18 Echoes, things like that. Start linking them up. So if you guys know anybody that's running something like this, let us know. Maybe we can start linking each other up. And but I'm also looking at it, man, that would be a good investment for us to do. Like maybe get into drone security for high profile individuals or something, you know?
Yeah. We're gonna have to cut that out because it wasn't gonna take our $1 million idea. Um
No, they can have it.
Yo, so back on subject, the Utah has a death penalty.
Yep.
Do you know what the backup is?
Life in solitary confinement.
Firing squad.
Wait. What kind of death penalty? Oh, lethal injection is the
Is
first
the
one.
primary, and firing squad is available as a backup method.
Can they still hang people?
Man, I just don't think they're gonna do that stuff in public like that, bro. I don't want to see. I just don't like. I don't want this shit turning into like we're reversing. You know.
You know,
Like, now we're gonna start what? Pull the guillotine out next?
you know what I think about it? If you're like, I wouldn't take my daughters to go see this, right? At their age right now. But if they were like, hey, we're going to do a public hanging or a public execution or something, I'd ask my son if he'd want to go watch it. And I would probably, I would watch it too. I think there would probably be an age. I think something like this needs to be done just to show, especially at this extreme. Like if you are, like, why not? Why can't we do it? I think you should be able to see public executions. If they want it, and yeah, let's take a vote on it.
Yeah, it's interesting, dude. It's interesting. I wonder how many people would vote, especially right now with how things are going.
And think about, like setting the example, not in the sense of, like how they used to do in the military. If you got in trouble, that first dude that got that worst thing or ever got caught doing that thing, they try to set the example with him and punish him as hard as they can, and then they would, try to deter everybody else from doing it in a sense.
Do you think he had an accomplice?
Man, don't think so. I don't
You
see
think
this.
so? You think it's like, hey man, Charlie Kirk's coming to Utah. I live like 4 hours away from where he's gonna go visit. Let me plan this.
I don't think this just does not seem that sophisticated at all. Just looking at it from like a,
Have you seen? Did you see that video of that guy that's like touching his hat and nose and like doing like baseball signals like moments before the shot went off?
oh man, matter of fact, that same video has made millions of views on our channel, dude. Have you seen that?
That's probably where I saw it.
It's definitely like, this is our channel. And our first, hey, make sure you guys give us a follow. We're trying to build it up. We don't have that big of a fan base right now. Working on it with you guys. This one is what you're talking about?
Yeah, dude. What is that? It would be something that like a child would think of too, you know?
I don't know, man. I don't think, dude, to be honest, like, this is like my, like, bird's eye view. That guy was sitting on top of that or laying down in the prone right at that corner of that building, right? On that second or third floor, whatever it was. Had a perfect straight on shot of it. It enters in from that left side right there, where we see that round come in. I think it goes in. That pressure of his chest moving and all that. I think that's the round, the pressure coming into this chest cavity and stuff. I found some other footage of even more zoomed in, closed in. Yeah, I don't think he's wearing a vest at all, man. Because you can see his like nipples through the shirt.
Well, even like right there, you could definitely see that he's not wearing a vest.
Yeah, so I don't think the vest thing is there. And from where that guy was, he was what, 130 or 140 meters away. Basic zero on something like that is at least 100 meters. You're doing 100 meter zero on a hunting rifle. Yeah, for sure. So I think he probably aimed a little center mass, a little nervous, hold high and right.
Dude,
Still hit his target.
I think they even had like texts between him and his roommate about like retrieving the weapon, that it was like in a black towel. this and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. All right, here, let's watch the final what President Trump has to say, and then we'll move on to that. I think that's actually said in the actual press brief, right?
Did the father know about what the son had done?
I don't know. I'm going to let you get all those
Okay.
questions later because I can't tell you how accurate. The bottom line is they have somebody that they think did it.
So, Mr. President, there is the death penalty in Utah.
Yes.
And I do know this is going to be a federal case. And there's many of us believe that Charlie was targeted because of his political ideology.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to this guy?
Well, I hope he's going to be found guilty, I would imagine. And I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this. He worked so hard and so well. Everybody liked him. I've been watching. Even the left is having a hard time. They fired this guy Dowd from MSDNC, who's a terrible guy, terrible human being. But they fired him. I hear they're firing other people. And, you know, we're talking about radical left. Now, they're a little bit, but radical left networks and cable channels, horrible channels like MS. I always go DNC because it's, you know, somehow affiliated with the Democrat National Committee. So, you know, it's a little statement you make. But MSNBC, but NBC, ABC, CBS, they're all terrible, absolutely terrible and unfair. But even they have been giving it sort of like this can't be allowed to happen.
We desperately need some healing. We'll have more to say about that in the days and weeks to come. More than anything, we are going to catch this person. Last thing I will just say is we've been working with our attorneys, getting everything that we need, affidavits ready, so that we can pursue the death penalty in this case, and that will happen here in the state of Utah. Again, to the public, to those who are grieving, thank you for your prayers. I know we are feeling those prayers. I know the Kirk family is feeling those prayers as well. We pray that God will bless our nation at this very dark time. We can start healing by finding this perpetrator and holding him accountable, and we need your help to do that. Thank you.
All right, brother. So one thing that I know they're going to try it as a federal case, right? So the downfall about a federal case that I really don't like, I mean, it's good. It keeps them like sort of secretive or, you know, less of a theatric kind of thing. Like the Diddy case, you know, that's how it was ran. It was a federal case kind of thing. But so you have to read everything. You either get the transcripts, read through the transcripts, you read all the shorthand of the press that's sitting in there. They have like in their press box or in their press booth, or they'll have another overflow room that they're watching it on video or something, and they're just writing press, all their notes. And then they're running outside and they're like tweeting it out. Then they run back inside and they keep doing that back and forth. It's funny. But that's like the only way to do it, which I'm going to follow it, you know, like, you know, I'm going to be into this. And then what do you think about Trump saying, like, I mean, they talked about the death penalty there too. So.
Well, just dude, if you once we watch the governor speaking on it, you're gonna see like the guy's choked up about this. So he's gonna have support from the president. He's gonna have support from law enforcement, from a lot of Utahns. Sorry if I'm messing that up. But yeah, I think if the kid lands a lawyer, that's gonna be pretty much the lawyer's sole purpose for these trials is to try not to get him the chair or firing squad or whatever it is that they're gonna do, you know.
Dude, do you think they'll start a GoFundMe? Like, I don't know if you've been following.
Oh, they probably already have.
Yeah, so they did the GoFundMe, and they ended up like defunding the GoFundMe because of more of the evidence came out. And then they were spending the money all this crazy ways. You remember that? But I want to find the FBI press brief, the full one, you know.
He also that too.
But what do you think? What's on your mind about having public execution or visual execution of something like this?
Like I said, dude, I don't think this shit should be normalized. Like your kids are seeing these things. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to like take my son's phone away so he can't talk to his friends and can't talk to his girlfriends and can't have a social life just because I'm worried about the next public execution of somebody, you know. And what is it gonna do? You know, what's that gonna do? You think that's gonna deter? You think that'll deter somebody from acting like this? The kid's 22 years old. He doesn't know anything about life yet. You know, all he has is like those little ideologies that you hold like so serious when you're young like that, you know. And for him, this was his war, you know. This was like his battle that he needed to do it. But do you think like he would feel that same way if he had, you know, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when he has investments and he has money at stake and his family's depending on him? Like, at the end of the day, he's 22, you know. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for this kid. He's a piece of shit. But at 22, bro, I was like a psycho, you know. Like, if it wasn't for the military, I would definitely be in a really horrible spot, you know.
I would say, man, I don't know. Like, I understand, like, at 22, I was not in that. I would never do this. You know, even today, or, you know, even after like training and know how to do this, to pull off that same thing would be, you know, how easy that would be in a sense, right? So like, but to like not get caught, that's the hardest part of it. This kid didn't understand consequences because he's never seen consequences. A lot of this generation has not seen consequences, you know?
So you're saying that if they see what the consequence is, you know, public execution, that's going to teach our kids.
It maybe doesn't have to be a public execution. They don't have to see it. But if they watch some videos like this, or they read the court filings and they like actually see like all of this gruesome details or whatever it is, and they can just visually read it. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I think that should be done. I think this should be televised everywhere.
You know, Charlie Kirk had like a pretty big teenage audience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I guess think like there's gonna be the people that want to be involved with the finishing of this, like how it ends, they're gonna be involved. But like to like force it on everybody is, I don't know, it might be a little excessive, in my opinion, dude.
That's where I don't think you are forcing it. If you want to watch it, watch it. That's your freedom of choice. But if you're not televising it, or if you're not showing it, then you're taking that choice away.
Have they ever televised like a lethal injection?
They have, yeah.
For who?
I don't know. I've watched a bunch of them, actually. They've documented a bunch
Those
of
are
them.
documentation. That's not like there's a press cameras and they're on
They
live
used to.
TV.
I
and
mean,
like, hey, we got an execution at 2 p.m. today.
I mean, they used to. I don't know if there has been cases in modern history, like I guess maybe not radio or maybe a visual kind of thing. I don't know. I'll probably have to like look into it. But I mean, they have done it to where it's like publicly displayed out in the middle of the center of town, I guess, you know, or places like that. And they've done that all over in every state, I believe, you know, even showing firing squads at one point. You know what? I think they televised Al Capone, didn't they? And showed that?
I've never seen it.
No, I don't think so. Maybe not. Yeah. Probably just where's my tinfoil hat?
Behind you.
All right. So this is the actual FBI press brief that they did today with the FBI director, Kash Patel, and I think the governor of Utah was there.
Yep.
And then some other local law enforcement and stuff.
Yeah. You know, for the director of the FBI to, you know, take a flight and be directly involved with this, as well as the governor, is showing like how serious they're taking this. I'm kind of curious to see what, like, there's gonna be some type of fallout from this, and I just can't, you know.
You know what the fallout is going to be is a lot of everybody that has already started saying bad things about Charlie Kirk. They're firing him. CEOs, like random employees, you know, if the like pops up in their feed, like, hey, you know, Beth from accounting said, I'm glad Charlie Kirk died. Well, I don't want her in my business. Gone, you know? So you're going to see a lot of leftists getting fired, and you're going to see like a huge like plume of that happen, like a small explosion. And then it's going to go radio silent, right? Because a lot of people are going to stop doing that. And you're going to see a lot of good stuff for Charlie Kirk coming out. No more really negative stuff because they're afraid of getting fired and losing their jobs and stuff like that. And then you're gonna see like those crazy leftists, progressive people is just gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller. And this is the death of the Democrat Party. That's what I think.
That's very, very interesting.
It's been downhill since Trump won again and they cut off all their money.
I was downhill way before then. Homie.
Yeah, that is true. All right.
They had like one chance to like, bring it home, and they chose Joe Biden, dying senior citizen. Yeah.
And then like he failed and got beat on the debate. And then they put Kamala Harris and Tim Walz out of like that. That's probably the weakest freaking political party or like, I guess presidential candidates I have ever seen for president and vice president. That was crazy. In my lifetime, definitely the weakest. Like Tim Walz lying about like his solar valor and military stuff. He lost all of them right there, like crazy. Like you got to be crazy to actually continue to want that in as your vice president.
I think Obama was literally like their last peak,
And he was horrible. Obama was horrible.
People love Obama. There's people that hate Obama. There's people, the only thing that's crazy, bro, is nobody went and tried to shoot Obama.
Yeah,
but bro, if what's wild to me is if Trump was not white, if Trump was black, brown, or other, he would have extreme support from both sides. But because he's it's like there's an attack, and I'm not like, defending your white privilege, but there's been like an attack on these guys, like on their character just because of
so the
what,
Well, I think the real thing is that they couldn't, like, if the Democrats kept Trump and they kept down this path of like this what we're doing right now, like that would have been a perfect Democrat, like conservative kind of thing. If they had like the same thing that MAGA is doing right now, the populist movement, if they had that exact same thing in the Democrat Party and had Trump, they had Trump at one time, he was a Democrat, but they went so far left. They just kept going and going, like more socialist policies, more like crazy ideologies, and then more of this emotional, ruckuses and assassinations instead of actual fact and like handling the truth, like the Tim Walz thing, the lying about his military career. Why? They can't even tell the truth about that. Like, what else are we going to actually like believe him in? Nothing. If you can't be like, hey, I think he was an E8. If I was an E8 and in the National Guard, I never deployed, like, but I'm a great leader. I'm strong, whatever, just like Pete coming out like, hey, like I did this in the military. I did have a drinking problem. I was an alcoholic, but I'll promise you I'll never do it again. And I think I'd rather have that, like, honesty than like lying that you were a sergeant major or something as dumb as that.
Well, you know what, dude? I have seen some like trending, like, I have to show how much I did in the homie. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to, dude. You're already one of the few that actually do anything.
Yeah,
so that automatically right there. And if you're like worried about what your brothers and sisters think, hey, bro, we know you're a piece of shit just like us. So like, just calm down, dude. You don't have to, bro. You could like. With the Tim Kennedy thing, you're like, yo, you're a Green Beret. You're a Ranger. You're a sniper. Like, those are already like
so far to qualify.
Good job, dude. Dude, good job. And a UFC fighter, dude. And you became successful with that. And we wanted to we wanted to show all this love, But you didn't have to do all that extra stuff. I don't need to like show out on an interview, just because like, I could say anything and I could make up a medal and these people will still applaud you.
Yeah. Man, to be honest, like the Tim Kennedy thing, like Tim Kennedy, I think is a badass. I'm not going to lie. Like he is a legend of legends, Dude grows up California, becomes a Green Beret. He gets his bachelor's degree, becomes a Green Beret, fights in the UFC, becomes a like special forces qualified sniper, Sephardic qualified, goes to Ranger school, you know, like a well decorated soldier, like badass dude, right? And like he did some deployments. I think he went to Afghanistan, he went to Iraq, right? Like he did a good job, like did his job. Like everybody wanted that. Was he cocky? Man, who isn't? Who isn't cocky? I was at one point, I was the biggest, baddest dude I ever met, you know, and I grew up next to you, you know, like, come on, man, you know, so like everybody's cocky. But then he let himself go. Like there's some crazy stories. We love fisherman stories. We all do it. We all do the military stories and have fun with it and let it go, you know, but then he kept going, man. The Bronze Star with Valor, like, bro. For anybody, the reason why it hits me like that is because like anytime anybody got a Valor award, friends of ours died, you know? Every time friends of ours died, you know? And to just go out there and just willy-nilly that hits me so hard because, man, I don't think we've gone a year without a friend dying since we joined the military, especially getting into group.
Yo, you know, Shay makes fun of me. She's like, all my friends are on my t-shirts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's like sad.
I
It's
was,
funny, but it's sad, you know?
I always bring it up to you, you know, like we're like 70-year-old dudes right now living in our late 30s, you know, like because at the age we are right now, or the age we should be at like 70 with how many friends we have because we lost them over old age and just random things, we're there now, man. Our friend group is just so tiny, you know, but it is great quality friends. The most trustworthy, loyal. I love you guys. You guys are like Green Berets, man. My best friends. Best friends. All right, let's get back onto this topic. So here we go. This is the FBI press brief.
This was a little long. We're going to have to definitely get to the good bits.
At today's press conference, we will hear from Governor Cox, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Sheriff Mike Smith. We also have with us Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, FBI Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital O-W-O, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who's worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah. But I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver it to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, Our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today.
I already knew Motion Array was great, but it just got even better. They just added their new AI voiceover feature. Listen to some of these.
I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere. And every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. He's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here, and it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes, because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American.
Are you okay?
Try to use this Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country. And he said, I'm not optimistic. He said, I hate optimism. God, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. He said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country, and I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil.
And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have. I cannot speak to that. Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not. And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. I think that speaks for itself. There's nothing more that we can share at this time. We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests. Yes, but the investigation is ongoing. Yes, so right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I'll go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun? The gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County. I'm sorry. We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes. I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here. I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s. And having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets, we are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together. The Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be. I mean, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. But this is our moment. Do we escalate, or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here. I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened. Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes. Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that. Basically, we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed. We'll have more information then, more detailed information as those charging documents are filed in preparation for a preliminary hearing. So 3 days. So we would anticipate then that early next week those charging documents will be filed. We will obviously be working. The county attorney will be working very closely with Mr. Kirk's family as those documents and decisions are prepared and made. Thanks, everyone.
All right, dude. So like, what do you think about that, man? Like, this is I mean, it was a pretty lengthy conference. Like not a conference. What is pretty lengthy?
Press release.
Press release, yeah. Oh. Well, I'm glad they caught him, like we're gonna see what comes out of it. Not too much information on it. His dad gave him up and a friend. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think that like I said before, dude, I think that Governor Cox did a great job bringing in how like serious and personal this should feel to people. I think people that have watched Charlie Kirk or have been keeping up with the news can like kind of feel for their family, feel for everyone that cared about them, So you kind of, and the thing about like somebody like Charlie Kirk that's always putting things out and you're watching them, like you develop like this like imaginary relationship almost, I think they did a good job just honoring him, and awesome that they caught this dude so fast.
Yeah, I think same thing with like just listening to podcasts or videos. You do like start connecting with some of these people because they do relate. I feel like they relate to our everyday life. It's not like the news. They'll just tell you stuff. They'll tell you whatever is going on in the news, but I don't feel like it's like that connection that like Charlie Kirk or even Joe Rogan, some of these guys that are like prominent figures in this social media world. I think that's why we feel like we even have more of a connection, with them. What do you think? Crazy.
I know their family must be going through it right now.
You want to read a little bit what's on Twitter right now? This was about 4 hours ago from Piers Morgan. So Charlie Kirk's assassin, Tyler Robbins, 22, killed him because he hated his opinions and thought he was a fascist. Yet, ironically, he was the fascist, killing someone to silence their opposing views. The woke left love to say speech is violent. It's not. Violence is. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. That's what we were saying earlier about the whole Democrats and liberals being so violent, like they've been calling us fascists and Nazis and all this stuff to the point that like they dehumanized Charlie Kirk, and ultimately somebody came along and took his life because they completely dehumanized him. At least this person, I feel.
Do you think this kid ever met him?
Man, I don't know.
You
You
think
think
he ever even shook his hand or like went to an event, or I think it was just all like from recordings and all of his channels and things that he posts. I think it's just like I don't even you like you assume somebody's character just out of
Just
things and then
do you
made a
think?
decision like this?
Well, also with like having that emotional connection, do you think if he never met him, do you think he actually did like some emotional connection only through videos? Never even saying a word, nothing like that. I mean, he definitely did. He connected with him emotionally somehow, whether it was like in person or just listening to him and hating his videos.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of others that have the complete opposite emotion and are going through it right now.
Yeah. Like I've never met him and I could relate to him for being a father, and going off to deployment and stuff like that and thinking about never coming back or something. Like I think he also probably felt that same way by doing these, because he's probably had death threats. I know he's actually has death threat. He's talked about it. So like, man, I feel for him. I definitely feel for him. Wild. Think about it. But all right, you want to end this one right here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we appreciate you watching us. This is the Between Two Green Berets show. I'm your host, Jesse James, and make sure you guys give us a like, a share, a follow, subscribe. Check us out on social media. We're gonna try to keep updating some more. This is my best friend in the whole wide world, Frankie Four Fingers.
Take it easy, everybody.